Okay, hi guys. I hope you all are doing well. So welcome to this session. The session of today, what we are going to be doing is we are actually going to be discussing about the APM questions from the past examination, and I would try to solve these questions. There are a few questions that the students always have, so I thought that maybe just I could just mention them now, which is that by the end of the session, you will actually be getting the recording of the today's session also. So that would be made available to you people, and that is probably going to be available on the learning management system. Plus, additionally, that is also going to be made available to you people through the YouTube also. So that is what we are going to be doing. So now what I will actually be doing in today's session is I would be going about the recent past examination papers of the APM and would actually be discussing those recent past examination papers. The last two examination papers are made available to you people. Wait a bit. Okay. So if I go about discussing this APM, so what do we have with respect to the APM? Um, just a minute. Okay, with respect to the APM, I think just wait a minute because I've just amended the allotted papers to myself. APM. Okay, so we have got APM December 2023. So I'm actually going to start off this APM December 2023. I've just switched on to the full screen. And what I will now be doing is that I would be going about this APM December 2023 paper. You know the structure is like this. There is this question number 1, which is worth 50 marks. And then there is this question number 2 and 3, which is worth 25 marks each. 25 marks each. Now, let's just start discussing and let's just start moving. So basically, the question number 1 is what we have to go about. And when I go about discussing question number 1, so this question is basically from one of the past examination, which is the latest examination. And the question actually is covering multiple areas, which is the areas pertaining to the not-for-profit organization. It is also including the league table. So there are multiple things that are actually covered up in this specific question. Now let's just see. It says the following exhibits available on the left-hand side of the screen provide information relevant to the question. So these are the information that you have. Now the exhibits are there, the requirements are there, and we have got the word processor and the spreadsheet that is also there. Now let's start discussing. It says the following exhibits available on the left-hand side of the screen provide information relevant to the question. So organization information, the background and funding arrangements of the organization, Estland Hospital and ambulance services. So this is Estland Hospital and ambulance services. You are being given the information pertaining to them. Now, performance management in not-for-profit organization, details of work required, so and so, so and so. Now, let's just try to discuss the requirement. With respect to the requirement, it says it is now 1st of September X5. Write a report to the EHAS. Write a report to the EHAS board to respond to its instruction for work on the following areas: performance management in not-for-profit organization, value for money, so on and so forth. Okay. So it says it is now 1st of September. Write a report to the EHAS Board of Directors to respond on the following areas: performance management in not-for-profit organization, value for money, league tables. Then it says professional marks would be awarded for so and so, so and so. Now we are just going to start discussing this. Um, let's see. So when we actually talk about it, I'm actually going to open up these things in front of you. You could just read through it and start accumulating the key information. I know some of you would have done this question earlier, but it's something that we are going to do together. You might actually have a different perspective here. Can you just read through it for 3 minutes, 5 minutes? Okay, now it says Ashland Hospitals and Ambulance Services is the government department with a responsibility. What is it? It's a government department with a responsibility for providing hospital and ambulance services in Ashland. So for providing hospital and ambulance services in Ashland. Though these services are managed and operated independently, healthcare in Ashland is provided to citizens free of charge. So basically the healthcare is provided to citizens free of charge and is funded by central government from the taxation. Patients cannot usually choose in which hospital they are treated and are usually treated in the nearest one or where according to hospital themselves there is capacity. So either they are being treated at the nearest one or they are being treated when there is a capacity. Iceland has an aging population. So the population is aging population with many new and expensive medical treatments becoming available each year. The potential increase in annual cost to EHAS of providing wide range of services, particularly for hospitals, would greatly exceed the increase in funding made available from Centra. As a result, making improvements in one area often requires redirection of resources from another area. Despite increases in funding, performance of EHAS in many areas is worse than for the similar organizations in the neighboring countries. Right now, can we just go through this performance management in an FPO? Can you just read through it, please? Okay, now let's see. So it says the EHAS board is comprised of number of directors. some of whom have backgrounds in commercial organizations, as well as some who are senior doctors and patient representatives. The chief executive recently joined EHAS after a long career in the banking industry. So majorly the people coming from the commercial industries is what is dominating the board. The CEO's first act in her role was to refuse to authorize the proposed provision of Estland's first air ambulance for use in the ambulance service in a large rural region of the country. Was to refuse to authorize the proposed provision. Um, a summary of the proposal and the CEO's decision is shown in an internal email in Appendix 1. So we're going to go through Appendix number 1 for the refusal of this. Due to the background of the board members, you, as a performance management expert, have been asked for help. The board would like you using the air ambulance proposal where appropriate to support your advice. To advise it on the following problems of performance, measurement, and management in not-for-profit such as EHS, multiple objectives, financial constraints, measurement difficulties, political and legal factors. So what do you need to do? The board would like you to use the air ambulance proposal where appropriate to support your advice. So I'm just going to copy this. I've pasted in here. Then I actually say this. Then I say this. So what I've actually done here is that I've pasted these things here. And we need to actually talk about these 4 areas. Right now, if I go about this discussing this, so basically let's just go through the appendix number 1, try to see what is happening in appendix number 1. Yeah, can you just go through it, appendix number 1? Okay, now it says extract from an email of the EHAS CEO, from CEO to the EHAS board, air ambulance proposal. It is proposed to provide a helicopter air ambulance to reach remote areas of Iceland more quickly than existing ambulance vehicle. It is estimated that this will improve performance of our ambulance services and save lives each year by getting sick and injured patients to hospital more quickly. This will also reduce patient suffering and distress while waiting for an ambulance, especially for those who live in remote areas or where there are few roads. Mhm. The capital cost to purchase and equip the helicopter will be met by a mix of public donations and additional government funding allocated specifically for the provision of air ambulances. Neither the public donations nor the additional government funding are available for use elsewhere in EHAS. If the proposal is not taken up, EHAS will be responsible for the staffing and running costs of the helicopter. If the proposal is not taken up, EHAS will be responsible for the staffing and running costs of the helicopter. So that's what they're going to be responsible for. Summary of the CEO's decision. I'm unable to approve the decision to provide the air ambulance. Despite the proposal's apparent merits, it would mean EHAS overall cost of providing ambulance services would increase from 499 per journey to 502 per journey, and so missing the performance target of $500. Okay. EHS, our commitment to ambulance users to help save lives and reduce patient suffering and distress. Provide an ambulance within 1 hour of calling. Carry patients safely, comfortably, and with dignity. Stick to financial performance commitments. Now, so what is he asking? The the board, due to background of the board members, you as a performance management expert have been asked to help. The board would like you using air ambulance proposal where appropriate to support your advice to advise it on the following problems of performance measurement and management in not-for-profit organizations such as EHAS. Now, see what actually happens is that when you come across such type of a question, the first thing that you should try to do is that you should try to identify. I repeat, you should actually try to identify that what exactly is the examiner asking, and you need to actually mention the pointers for that. You need to understand that what the examiner asking, and you need to mention the pointers for that. So here the question is actually what? The question is a 13-mark requirement. And obviously in the whole question, there are these 10 marks available for the other things also. So what are we gonna do? We're gonna just think about that what pointers can we think of each of them for each of these bullets, for each of these headings. Okay, now let's see. So what are these multiple objectives? How would you actually talk about? See the bullet, I'm just writing down some of the bullet pointers here, and then we could just elaborate here. So the problems of performance measurement and management in not-for-profit organization. The multiple goals that the organization is carrying includes. Now what am I going to do? I'm going to open up appendix number 1. I'll come back here. Include saving lives, reducing patient suffering and distress, providing quick ambulance services that could carry the patients safely, comfortably, and with dignity, and also to achieve the financial performance commitments. It is usually very difficult to prioritize the objectives as they are usually conflicting objectives. Like for example, if the entity has to achieve then providing healthcare in case if the entity intends to reduce the cost, in case if the entity intends to reduce the cost, this would compromise the quick service that it is committed to provide to the patients. Hence, overall, it is difficult to manage the objectives. Now, what next is there? Next is financial constraints. When you talk about the financial constraints, so you see the issue is that usually funded by government Okay, sorry about it. My internet got disconnected anyways. So we were actually talking about it. And if I could just take you people through. So yeah, see, what happens is that with respect to the financial constraints, so these are usually funded by the government, right? What is happening is that it is usually funded by the government. It says that uh, met by a mix of public donations, additional government funding allocated specifically for the provision of air ambulances. So I'm just putting down there. Neither the public donations nor the additional government funding are available for use. EHAS will be responsible for running so and so, so and so. Now, there was something else also mentioned in one of them, which was basically okay. What I've done is that I've just copied the relevant pointers here. And now what I'm going to do is that I'm going to create an answer from the relevant pointers. Now, what have I done? I've actually created the relevant points from here. Now, what am I going to do is that I'm actually going to create an answer. So three, with respect to the financial constraints, it is usually funded by government and the donors. So the public donations, additional government fundings are needed to meet the expenses. The potential increase in annual cost to EHAS of providing wider range of services, particularly for hospitals, would greatly exceed the funding made available from the central government. Increase in the annual cost. Okay. The fundings may or may not be allocated by the government. Now see, so we have actually talked about it. Now the measurement difficulties. Usually the objectives are conflicting. Focus is mainly on the achievement of the non-financial goals. Difficult to assess which non-financial goals slash objectives are to be measured. Difficult to define the measures, as usually the measures are subjective. So this is what actually happens, right? This is what actually happens. Right? Now, so basically, this is something that happens with respect to the measurement difficulties and then the political and the legal factors. So the dependency is on the government. The change of government impacts the motives and the spendings. Political inclination, political inclination of the different governments could impact the activity significantly. If the government applies the austerity measures, it becomes difficult for them. It becomes difficult for them to manage. So what is actually happening is that this is basically the political and the legal factors. That is something that's happening. There is the political and the legal factors. That is something happening. Right? Is there anything that you want to add up on this? Yeah, anyone wants to add up on this? Yeah, anyone wants to add up any pointers to this? Austerity measure is reducing the expenditure. So at times the governments, what happens is that when they are short of funds, they go about exercising the austerity measures. They go about exercising the austerity measures. Okay, now good enough. So basically, this was one of the requirements, and what we have done is that we have listed down the pointers for this. Now let's just move a bit forward, and we have got this second requirement, which is about the value for money. We're gonna see what is it all about. Can you just go through this requirement? Can you just go through this area, this section? Yeah, can you just go through this? Yeah. Have you read through it? Okay. Let's just see. Now it says the board of EHAS is formulating a new strategy to redirect resources from poorly performing hospitals to those which are performing well in order to improve EHAS overall performance. The board is particularly keen to improve survival rates in patients who suffer a type of serious medical emergency known locally by doctors as type 3 serious medical emergency. So they want to increase the survival rate in that type 3 medical emergencies. Now, what next is there? T3s are a common cause of death in Iceland, and there is a significant political and public pressure to improve survival rates to match international standards. There are two other significant factors in addition to the treatment which patient received at hospital, which affect their chances of survival after a T3. Now, what are they? The length of time it takes to arrive at hospital, usually by an ambulance. Again, see, what happens is that the air ambulance is gonna take is gonna be critical. Now, other are the risk factors related to a medical history, lifestyle, and overall state of health. These factors are these factors are used to identify patients who are classified as high risk and who have much lower survival rates than the T3 patients as a whole. Other patients who are not classified as high risk are classified as normal risk. EHAS has defined the survival rate as the proportion of patients who are still alive 30 days after suffering a T3. EHS new strategy is to use the three E's, the economy, efficiency, and effectiveness model to assess hospitals according to their value for money. So that's what they want to do, and then consider redirecting the resources. Now, the board has asked you for a value for money assessment, including the calculation of one measure for each of the three E's of hospitals A, B, and C, using performance data and additional background supplied in Appendix 2. In conclusion to your assessment, you are required to advise the board on appropriateness of its strategy to redirect resources away from the worst performing hospitals. Now, can you just try to do this, because you see what is the requirement? The requirement is that board has asked you for a value for money assessment, including the calculation of one measure for each of the three E's of hospitals, A, B, and C, using the performance data and additional background information supplied in Appendix 2. In conclusion, your assessment, you are required to advise the board on appropriateness of its strategy. Can you just go through the appendix number 2? Can you just go through the appendix number 2? And I'll just zoom out a bit so that it is clearly visible to all of you. Yeah, I think you might actually have to just zoom in the screen a bit so to see this. Yeah, can you just go through it? Yeah, can you try to identify one measure for each of the economy, efficiency, and effectiveness? Okay, now let's just see. So we could just try to see that what could be the different measures that we can have. So it says number of patients admitted to hospital following a T3, A, B, and C. Number of patients alive is this. Number of doctors employed to treat T3 patients is this. Total salary of the doctors. Total salaries of the doctors treating the T3 patients is this. The proportion of patients classified as high risk. So we have got the proportion of the patients which are being classified as high risk. Okay, so then what we have got is we have got these multiple details available for the hospitals A, B, and C. Then what else is there? It says the additional background information. Hospital A is a large teaching hospital which specializes in teaching, treating and training specialist doctors in the treatment of T3 patients. The highly qualified doctors develop new medical treatments to improve survival rates and the quality of life for the T3 survivors. Hospital B and C are general hospitals, which mean that they provide care for patients with a wide range of emergency and non-emergency medical conditions. Both of these hospitals are located in the same city. So I've got Hospital A, which is specializing in basically the treating and training the specialist doctors in this. And the Hospital B and C are the general hospitals. That's what we have. Now, what next is there? So we need to actually apply the value for money onto this scenario. It says EHS's new strategy is to use the 3 E's, the economy, efficiency, and effectiveness model to assess the hospitals according to the value for money and then consider redirecting resources. So what do the board has asked you? They've asked you for a value for money assessment, including calculation of one measure for each of the hospitals A, B, and C using performance data and additional information supplied in Appendix 2. So that's what we have to do. Now, what we are going to do is that we have got the spreadsheet also. You can do two things, which is you could just copy the information available here in Appendix 2. You could just copy the whole of it and could just paste it onto the spreadsheet. ऊपर वाली बंद कर. So there is this economy, there's this efficiency, and there's this effectiveness. Economy, efficiency, and effectiveness. So I'm actually trying to establish the economy like this. Salary per doctor. I could measure the economy like this, salary per doctor. So it could actually be like this. The economy is that the salary is in terms of thousands. This is multiplied by 1,000. And then this is all going to be divided by 50. Cost per patient treated for T3. The cost per patient treated for T3 is this, multiply by 1000 divided by, so we have got the cost per patient treated for, cost per patient treated for T3 is this, 'right? Now efficiency is what? Efficiency is that how quickly are you performing a task or how well are you performing a task. So number of patients admitted, number of patients alive, number of doctors employed to treat the patients. Now patients per doctor is simply gonna be 200, 240, 290. Then the effectiveness is basically now for the effectiveness is what? Effectiveness is when you are able to achieve the goal, achieve the objective. So what do we mean by effectiveness over here? The effectiveness is basically going to be so you've got economy, efficiency, and effectiveness. Yeah, can you think of any other measures? Can you think of any other measures? Okay, proportion of patients classified as high risk is that you could also calculate the percentage of high risk patients. In fact, we cannot just calculate a good measure because we have got one single detail of the number of patients alive after 30 days. For 10,000, 6,000, 5,800, we have got these proportions classified as high risk. So uh, we cannot actually do much with this proportion right now for the time being. When we are going to be commenting, we could just comment further, but for the time being, we cannot just do much about it. Percentage of reduction in high risk patients for effectiveness, but no information. Yes, we don't have much information, right? So we have got this. Now, what do we need? It says the board has asked for a value for money assessment. In conclusion to your assessment, you are so and so, so on. So now see what is going to happen. If I talk about, I can have either of these measures for the economy. Value for money is achievement of the 3 E's, that is economy, efficiency, and effectiveness. Value for money is the achievement of three E's, which is the economy, efficiency, and the effectiveness. Now, you will explain what economy is. Economy is getting a task done at lowest possible cost. That is what is considered to be economy. In the current scenario, different methods of measuring economy could be used. Different methods of measuring the economy could be used. Including the cost per patient treated. This cost reflects how economically is the entity treating the patients. This cost reflects how economically is the entity treating the patients. Uh, Considering the performance of each of the hospitals reflect that the hospital C is operating most economically amongst all the hospitals. Amongst all the hospitals. Amongst all the hospitals. Now, with respect to efficiency, is how well the entity is utilizing its resources. Considering the current situation, the patients treated by each doctor is a reflection of efficiency. The Efficiency of hospital C is the best amongst the three hospitals, as hospital C, each doctor handles to 90 patients as opposed to the as opposed to the 200 and 240 patients handled by A and B, as opposed to 200 and 240 patients handled by A and B.
Hello guys, are you in the class? Can you guys please share which area you are finding challenging and which question? Because right now sir is not here, so we can discuss the things which we face as a challenge. What do you guys suggest? So it is good to unmute yourself and share what are you facing as a challenge. For me, that was a very challenging question. And what do you find challenging in transfer pricing and EVA? Can you please just unmute yourself? Because EVA have two aspects. One is the computation side of the EVA, and another one is the discussion part. So where are you facing the challenge?
Hi, I'm finding it hard with like the computation part and with transfer pricing as well. It's just the computation part, but other than that,
Okay,
it's
okay,
more
okay. I think
it's
you
more
just
just
follow
like
a
this
simple
like
technique.
sorry.
For EVA, just follow the simple technique. The starting point is what tend to happen. EVA is a cash flow based technique, closely linked to the cash flow derived from the NPV. And what NPV does, NPV suggests that it does not consider the cash non-cash item. Suppose that what you have to do, you have to make just slight adjustment to the paper at whatever extent it would be possible from you. Convert the accounting profit to the cash profit. That's the main objective. And in EVA, we have two things. One is profit, and profit is mainly from the income statement, and income statement is for the period. And the capital employed, and capital employed is from the statement of financial position, which should as at position. So whatever the adjustment you need to make in the capital employed side, you have to consider the previous years plus the current year side. And for profit side, you just have to make the amendments to the just only the current period. And after doing this, I think that it will be easy for you to perform a computation of EVA.
Yeah, that makes sense. For me, it's just like when I read the question to just
Okay.
understand what's been asked and like how much I need to write for that question.
If you have you attempted the still water EVA question, because that's a very good question. It have two capital employed.
No, I haven't done that one yet.
Do still water for EVA. This is a very good question, and sir have recorded it. You will understand it. Because
Okay.
the our main theme, just follow the main theme. Convert the accounting profit and accounting capital employed to the economic capital employed and economic profit. And economic profit follows cash flows. It doesn't like anything non-cash item. Suppose that marketing, R&D, they are supposed to be capitalized. That's the main point. And the depreciation, amortization, they are not supposed to become the part, because in generally they do not exist. They are just an estimates of accounting policies. And what about the transfer pricing side?
That's also like the computation part, like just working out how to go ahead with it. But I
Well,
also had
yeah, sure. Please continue.
I also had another question. Like when you guys are revising, in terms of like topics and what topics you're focusing on, how are you doing that?
Can we all student arrange a session for ourselves just for a discussion part where we everyone just like you that you said that you are facing a problem in EVA and one individual open the screen and perform that this is how EVA has to be done. So in this manner we all learn because learning from the mistake is the quickest way. Uh, Well, VBM, value based management, EVA is the technique of a value based management. Basically, what value based management says, it focuses upon the value creation. And EVA is a measure to calculate whether the shareholder value is created or not because it is directly linked to the wealth of the shareholder.
Okay. Now see what happens is that, sorry, I got disconnected again. Mm, Okay. So we have got the efficiency and then we have got the effectiveness refers to fulfilling the purpose / objective of the organization. Okay. Effectiveness refers to fulfilling the purpose and objective of the organization. The effectiveness in the case of that we are just going to comment on that. We're just going to comment on that. Proportion of patients who are alive. Proportion of patients who are alive at the end of the 30-day period. at the end of 30-day period. Is highest for hospital C and lowest for hospital A. Considering the performances, hospital A is the worst performing hospital and the hospital C is the best performing hospital. The situation and circumstances that have been considered is that they want to divert the resources to the underperforming resources from the underperforming hospitals to higher performing hospitals. They want to divert the resources from the underperforming hospitals to higher performing hospitals, which would mean that the resources would be diverted from the, this would mean that the resources would be diverted from the hospital A to hospital B and C. This may not be the appropriate decision as the, this may not be the appropriate decision as the hospital A is a large hospital which is training and preparing doctors for the, which is training and preparing doctors for the handling of T3. It handles the highest number of patients and is situated in a different city as compared to hospital B and C. Therefore, it would not be a wise decision to close down A and divert its resources to B and C, where it is important for EHS to handle the patients and to provide ambulance and emergency services to a larger audience. Yes, that's what it is going to be. Now let's move on to the next one, which is about the league tables. Can you just go through it, please? So we could just start discussing. Now, what happens is that EHAS board believes that this may identify the best and worst performing hospitals. What it could do is that it could identify the best and the worst performing hospitals so that best practice can be shared and also that remedial action can be taken in poorly performing hospitals. It is also hoped that the league tables will promote competition between hospitals and that this will drive an overall improvement in performance. EHAS board has asked for your advice on the potential problems using league tables in this way. Now, what do you think should be the answer to this? There are basically, how many marks are there? There are basically 13 marks allotted for this. There are 13 marks allotted for this. I know beta is unfortunately there was an internet issue, but here I'm actually asking you people to contribute to this. Okay, see, what is he asking? He asking the EHAS board believes that this may identify the best and the worst performing hospitals so that the best practice can be shared and also that remedial actions could be taken in poorly performing hospitals. It is also hoped that the league tables will promote competition between hospitals and that this will drive an overall performance. EHAS board uh, has asked your advice on the potential problems of using league tables this way. Now see, let's just try to understand this. Basically, this is what he is asking us to do. So you got to actually answer this way. What exactly are the league tables? So league tables are the methods of now what are the league tables? League tables are the method of comparing the performance by using the same technique as is used in the football leagues. The points, the performance measures are defined and the points are allotted for either meeting or exceeding the targets. No point is usually granted for failure to meet the target. The introduction of the league table enhances the performance comparison as it allows the performances of the entities to be awarded points and then the businesses could be ranked according to the points that they have obtained. Could be awarded according to the points that they have actually obtained. Now, this does help identify well the best and the worst performing hospitals. But and also the weaknesses could be overcome by taking the remedial actions. However, the problems that are inherent with respect to the use of league tables are as under. The organizations are not comparable. The organizations are not comparable. See, this is actually going to get you professional marks because you are actually explaining to them that what is actually going to happen with respect to the league table. You are actually explaining to them that what are you going to do with respect to the league tables, right? Now, so the organizations are not comparable as the circumstances of the organization are different and therefore it is not that easy to compare the performances. The points assigned are based on are based on universal targets and not on the basis of the points achieved based on the circumstances that are prevalent. What else can you think of as the disadvantage of this? What else can you think of as a disadvantage for this? Yeah. So the focus will only be achievement of the targets and not ensuring that the organization's principles are being upheld. The human element plays a critical role for the organization, and therefore and therefore it will be difficult to human element play the critical role for the organization, and therefore it will be difficult to quantify the performances. Now see, what happens is that these were the requirements of the question. I know there have been some distractions. Cultural mismatch, yes. So yes, you could talk about this also, the cultural mismatch also, the economic conditions also, the atmosphere and the environment will also have an impact on the employees. So all these things are there. Yeah, is that okay? Yes, I will suggest. I will suggest. Okay. Now, what did you people learn from the question that we attempted? What did you people learn? Because you see, a lot of you people struggle. A lot of you people struggle to answer the questions, struggle to handle the long questions. So what was the learning while I was doing this question? You can unmute also in case if you want. Was there any learning? I'm sorry for some distractions because of internet, but that was beyond my control. Yeah, hello. I'm waiting to hear from you people. Okay, tell me something. Have you all got access to QBR? Yeah, Fatumata, please.
I've learned the application of 3Es. I think I was having some issues with it, but now I understand how to tackle that question. And also not for profit organization, there are multiple objectives, how to answer such scenario also. This one is very helpful for me.
Yeah, because you see what happens is that at times when you get a long question, you fail to struggle that how should we actually go about it. So I think that the
Exactly.
most important thing is to have a technique as to how to handle. Okay, anyone else would like to add up anything?
Yes, sir.
Yes, please,
Sir,
Mohsin.
can we break the part you started from the first one? That was very challenging part. If this type of question arise in future and we don't have, can we just skip this part if not able to answer and just start from the part B, and later on
Yes,
what we
yes.
do, just see the things whatever the just for a technique as a jugaad, if the just seeing the things what are being not able to cover by the part B and part C. Suppose the multiple objective is not an easy task, because normally entity tend to have what we have just a very limited points, and you elaborated in a very great manner. Can we just take the point from requirement B and C to just make sure that this is happening over there and not possible in this multiple objectives like this?
Okay, see what is happening is that Mohsin, you people have got access to the I mean, like when you get the access, you have the word processor where you are going to be writing down the answer. So you could always just skip any requirement you want to skip, right? You don't have to be like this that you are always going to answer the requirement one only and then requirement two. No, no. You could just skip and you could move on to the next requirement. So my suggestion to you people is going to be that for the future, if you have got a question where you are stuck in one of the requirements, so the best thing to do is that just move forward. Just move forward. You don't need to stay back. You don't need to actually continue doing that. Just move forward, right? So you can always escape and you can always come back. You can always escape and you can always come back. So my suggestion is that if you find it difficult, just escape and move forward.
Sir, one more thing, where to start paper, from section B or section A?
See what happens is that it completely depends upon you. If you actually, because you see section A is the most marks yielding thing. So if I would there, I would have been there, I would start from section A. If I would have been there, I would start from section A.
Hi, sir.
Yeah, hi.
I would like to ask, now when you look at the sequence of the questions, is it right to assume or to say that the way the questions are set in sequence, that is this, in the same order, we can get it from the context of the question. Let's say, for instance, if we have 3 questions, is it right to say that maybe the first paragraph of the question will be on the first question, then the next paragraph will be on the second question, and the third paragraph will be on the third question, so that
Usually,
we
yes.
don't have to read
Usually, yes.
we don't have to read the whole question before we start, attempting the questions.
Yeah, Moses, but you see the problem that is actually there is that like for this scenario also, if you would have skipped this organization information, you would have actually struggled other areas. So like you could not skip this. Yes, you could skip this to move on to this value for money. But generally speaking, what happens is that maybe you might not answer something, but it's always good to read through it. especially if you go for the question number 2 or question number 3, then in question number 2 and 3, what usually happens is that the question 2, 3, they are, they are such that if you skip the top part of the question, you might not actually understand the later part of the question. So it's important that, you see, the questions are structured that way, but it's important to actually read through the whole question to be able to answer even the second part.
Okay.
Get my point? Right.
Okay, I have another question. Because I really appreciate the way your approach in providing answers to the requirement. So should we also apply the same thing? Because what I see you do is that you go to the paragraph and you copy the question that have been asked and paste it on the answer script. And from there, you build your answer on it. So will it also be a good idea if we should also adopt the same approach?
Yes, this is the suggested approach. You see, what happens is that because you ultimately get points to write. Now, if you don't do this, you will not get the points to write. See, if I were to, the way I handled this multiple objective scenario, I would not have been able to handle this multiple objective scenario had I not copied things from the question. I had to copy things from the question, and on the basis of that, I was able to do that. So you got to be able to, pick up the information from the question so that you can have more things to write on.
Okay, thank you. Clear.
Welcome. Anyone else? No, it does work. It does work. Just put the Control C, Control V, it will work. Okay. So now you have got access to QBR. What I want you people to do is that to actually go about doing all the questions in the QBR that are there. Let me just even show you the questions that are actually there in the QBR. If you even want to do nothing and just follow the QBR, that is sufficient enough for you to inshallah be able to pass the examination. So what I would suggest you all to do is that to go through the QBR. The QBR is going to be sufficient enough to take you to the pass, inshallah. Let me just open up question based. Okay, advanced performance management QBR. Okay, see, there are these 5 chapters. These are lectures. Like there are these 18 questions in the QBR. If you do these, believe me, you will be able to pass easily. Just do these 18 questions. Just do these 18 questions. That's covering almost the whole syllabus. Just do these 18 questions. 18 questions. And if you want additional, then do these also. Rule, reward, and wood code, so and so. If you want to do additional questions. Otherwise, this is sufficient enough. And you all have got access to it. And those who have not got access, it's available for free using a code, which is the promo code of free QBR. So you could just contact our team and they would actually guide you through. Right? Okay. So thank you guys for your time. Thank you for being here. And let's just stay connected. Just try to go through this QBR, the lectures, the 18 questions that are there in the QBR. This is inshallah going to be sufficient enough for you to make it in the examination.